Chapter 1, Mishnah 1. A Tevul Yom, a person who has immersed on this day, is the equivalent of a Sheni L'tum in most respects, and he renders Tirumah heat that he touches pasul invalid. If there are several items of Tirumah lying together, and the Tevul Yom touches one of them, only the item that he actually touched is pasul. The other items remain tahor. However, if there is a legal connection, chibor, between the items, then if a Tevul Yom touches one of them, all of them become pasul, because it is considered as if he touched each of them directly. The first Mishnah of this tractate records two disagreements between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel as to whether certain items are considered connected with respect to this law, and we now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If one piled together challah portions of dough, that is, slices of dough, that were each originally separated as challah from different doughs, with the intent to later separate them from one another and bake each one separately, but because they were left piled together, they bit into each other, meaning that they have now stuck together to the point that if one of them is picked up, a piece of the next one will be pulled off and come along with it as well. And a Tevul Yom touched one of the slices. There is a dispute as to the law. Beis Shammai say that the slices are considered connected with respect to the touch of a Tevul Yom, and all of them become pasul, even though the Tevul Yom touched only one of them. But Beis Hillel say that they are not considered connected. Therefore, only the slice that the Tevul Yom actually touched is pasul. The other slices remain tahor. In the case just discussed, the person who piled together the slices of challah dough did so with the intention to separate them before baking them. Therefore, Beis Hillel ruled that the slices are not considered to be connected at all, even if an avatuma or a rishon l'tuma touched one of them. The Mishnah will now list several other cases where Beis Hillel does not rule quite as leniently. Regarding slices of terumah dough that bit into each other so that separating one would cause a piece of the next one to be pulled off and come along with it. Or unbaked loaves of terumah dough that bit into each other where the person did not have the express intention to separate the slices in the first case or loaves in the second case before baking them, and a Tevul Yom touched one of the slices or loaves. Or if someone is baking thin cakes of terumah and he placed one cake on top of the next cake before they have had formed a crust in the oven, so that they must be separated in order that the shape of the cakes will not be ruined, and a Tevul Yom touched one of the cakes. Or if a Tevul Yom touched the hollow bubbles that form on top of boiling water, or the froth that forms on top of split bean porridge of terumah that is being boiled for the first time, or the froth that rises during the fermentation of new wine of terumah. The Mishnah interrupts to add one more item to the list according to one Tana. Rabbi Yehuda says also the froth that forms on top of boiling rice of terumah. Regarding all of these items, Beis Shammai say that they are considered connected with respect to a Tevul Yom, just as they did in the Mishnah's first case. Therefore, if the Tevul Yom touches one of the slices, loaves, or cakes, all of them become pasul, and if he touches the bubbles of froth, the water, porridge, wine, or rice become pasul as well. But Beis Hillel say they are not considered connected. Therefore, if a Tevul Yom touches one of the slices, loaves, or thin cakes, only that one is pasul, and others remain tahor. And if he touches the bubbles or froth, the water, porridge, wine, or rice remain tahor. However, in these cases, Beis Hillel stated this leniency only if the items were touched by Tevul Yom. But they agree with Beis Shammai that in a case where the items were touched by a person that was tamei with any other kind of tuma, whether lenient, i.e. a rishon l'tuma, or stringent, i.e. an avatuma, then these items are considered connected, and all of the items would become tamei if the tamei person had touched them directly. Only in the case of a Tevul Yom, whose tuma is considered weaker, since he has already immersed in a mikvah, and is merely waiting for nightfall for his tahara to be complete, do Beis Hillel rule that the items in the second list are not considered connected.